Hi guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another live stream fishing show. That's right, it's Sunday night and we're getting ready for our live stream show. Happy Sunday night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, bringing you another Sunday night live stream fishing show. It is Sunday night, February 16th, here at beautiful Hubbard's Marina inside Fish Famous John's Pass. We're going to get ready to start our live stream fishing show in just a few moments. Appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, remember, if you're watching the show live, just bear with us. We'll get started here in a few moments. If you're not watching live, if you're watching a rerun later on and it's not Sunday night, February 16th at 8:25, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching live, just bear with us. We're going to get started here shortly. Make sure you comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to share this video with friends. And don't forget to like the video for us, subscribe on YouTube, all that good stuff. We're going to get started here very shortly. So I appreciate everybody tuning in and spending their Sunday night with me here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to give away some free fishing trips. We're going to talk all about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. We're going to answer some questions and talk about what you guys want to hear and talk about the weather a little bit as well. We got some beautiful weather coming up the next couple days. Great opportunity to head out there and do some fishing. Remember to comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to like the video for us. And share this video stream with your friends on your timeline and your favorite fishing group. We are going to get started very shortly. As always, we're going to be giving away a free 5-hour half day for 2 guests, a free 10-hour all day for 2 guests, and we're giving away a 39-hour fishing trip for 1 person. If we hit 400 live viewers, the 39-hour is free. If it's 400 or less, it's half price. But almost $1,000 in free fishing trips coming at you very shortly tonight. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us here at Hubbard's Marina. We are going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. We're going to be answering your questions to the best of our ability. And we're going to be giving away free stuff. Remember, in order to win the free stuff, you do have to comment on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you'll navigate to facebook.com, search for the Hubbard's Marina page. Once you find our Hubbard's Marina page, you'll comment 1 time on the video and you are entered to win. At that point, you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on our website, wherever you want to watch is fine. You just have to comment 1 time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook video to be entered to win. And then stay tuned, because in order to win, if you're picked as that lucky winner, you do have to text our Hubbard's Marina main office number, 727-393-1947, your name, your home address, and what trip you won so we can send it out to you. So again, you got to enter to win by commenting on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, and then you have to then stay tuned and claim your prize by texting us when you are chosen as that lucky winner. So make sure you stay tuned, and hopefully you're going to be a lucky winner tonight, because we're going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more, answering your questions, talking about weather, and we are getting started here very shortly. Remember, you can watch on our Hubbard's Marina YouTube channel. You can watch on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook. You can go to hubbardsmarina.com and watch on the bottom corner of our website. Whatever's easier for you. Don't forget to tell your friends because we want to get up to that 400 live viewers mark so we can give away a free 39-hour fishing trip. If we don't get to 400 live viewers, someone's getting a half price 39-hour fishing trip. So, one way or another, we're giving away lots of free stuff, and hopefully, you guys are going to hang around with us and be eligible to win. So, starting here very shortly, we're going to start inshore, go over what we've been catching, what's been going on. We're going to work our way offshore and then get into your questions. Just about ready to start. Hopefully you guys are as well. All right, let's get this show on the road. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Again, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. This is our Sunday night live stream fishing show. We do this every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. every Sunday night. We're going to be talking fishing for about an hour. We're going to talk nearshore and offshore fishing mainly. We'll talk a little bit about inshore fishing too. And we're going to give away some free stuff. We're going to talk about the weather, what's coming up here at Hubbard's Marina, and we're going to answer some of your questions. So sit back, relax, kick your feet up, and let's get rolling. So we're going to start inshore and talk a little bit about what's been happening inshore. So, oops, wrong button. So what's been happening inshore lately? We've been catching some trout. The trout bite has been really good. This is our buddy John Sasser showing off that soft plastic paddle tail that he's been killing the trout with. The speckled trout, the silver trout, all biting really well lately. Mostly at night around those bridge lights is where John's getting a lot of these trout. But we're seeing them around the residential docks, in the dock lights. We're seeing them on the edges of the grass flats and the potholes. The trout bite's really good throughout the entire area. Speckled trout mainly during the day on the flats and stuff. And then the silver trout we've been seeing at night and then during the day along the beaches. These are all the speckled trout right here. And that's a silver trout right there. So the silver trout bite's been really good at night as well. And John, in between his silver trout and his speckled trout, has been also seeing some mackerel and some bluefish around the passes too. So good time to get out there on the passes and throw some soft plastic paddle tails. That's been what's been working well. This is our buddy Eric in a nice big old redfish, the dock lines in his kayak. He's been doing really well on those dock lines, fishing from his kayak. Eric likes the soft plastic paddle tails this time of year as well. The gold spoons are a good idea. Slow moving jerk baits work well. Also live shrimp or a small live pinfish, all great options for these redfish. But the more advanced anglers, like Eric included, love those soft plastic paddle tails. We got Jason Colleen here. He got this nice redfish off the dock at Hubbard's Marina using a live shrimp. They were targeting the sheep's head, ended up catching one of these redfish. The sheep's head bite's been really good around the area. Pretty much any structure from docks to bridges to jetties to seawalls and everywhere in between, we've been seeing these sheep's head. Small little tiny piece of shrimp, cut piece of clam, cut oyster, barnacles, fiddler crabs, all great option for these sheep's head. Smaller hooks, like a 1/0 hook, is a really good option, about 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. Minimal weight or no weight at all is a great option for those sheep's head. Basically just enough weight to make sure your bait's in that strike zone. These sheep's head are doing circles around those pilings and those bridge fenders, eating those fiddler crabs and looking for those fiddler crabs and eating barnacles and oysters off the pilings or the structure. So you want to make sure that your bait, your piece of shrimp, your cut clam, your barnacle, your fiddler crab is right up against that structure. or at the very base of that structure right up against it, because that's where those sheep's head are going to find them. And then you got that nibble, you got to set that hook. They have a very bony mouth, so it can be a little bit tricky. And then once you get them hooked, you got to get them away from that structure quickly. Once you get them into your cooler, the next challenge is filleting these guys. They are definitely a bony fish. A little difficult to fillet, but they're very good eating. A lot of fun to catch too. We've been seeing some of these snook. The snook action is actually heating up a little bit in the passes. That warmer weather has definitely got those snook kind of coming out of the rivers, out of the bayous. They were really, really pushed up into the back bay areas with that cooler weather. Now that we've had these warming trends, it's going to be in the 80s this week. Those snook are definitely getting a little bit more active in the pass. This young angler hangs around Hubbard's Marina and our docks quite a bit, and he's been catching some really nice snook lately on live pinfish, live shrimp, and also some of those DOA shrimp working really well for these snook around Hubbard's Marina in Johns Pass. Here's Eric with another snook, soft plastic paddle tails, working those mangrove shorelines, catching them snook in a little shallow water. Here's Brian with a big old 36-inch snook. I forget what he mentioned he caught this guy on, but another nice fish for sure. Snook bite, like I said, is definitely picking up a little bit. We get back into these trout. But that's what's been going on inshore. Lots of sheep's head, good trout bite, snook bites picking up. Redfish was really good this week. And that's about it inshore. Now we're going to talk about some nearshore fishing, get into a little bit about what we do here at Hubbard's Marina, because we've been fishing local waters since 1928, almost 100 years. We started with rowboats with cane poles. That was my great-grandfather back in the day. Now, we specialize in nearshore and offshore fishing in our large party boats, and then we do private fishing charters too. But we also work with tons of people who do inshore fishing. So if you want to catch snook, trout, redfish, you can go onto our website. We just created this inshore fishing page. So if you go to our website, just hubbardsmarina.com, right on our website, you can click fishing trips and scroll down to the bottom of the fishing trips menu. There's this inshore fishing page now. That inshore fishing page takes you to this new page we built. It's Inshore Fishing with Captain Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson is the Real Animals guy. He has his fishing TV show and fishing radio show. He's who I talk to every Saturday and Sunday morning on his Real Animals fishing show, the radio show I call into. So we work together, and Captain Mike has a huge team of inshore and nearshore and backwater fly fishing, gator hunting. They do it all, and his phone number is right here. Just make sure that you tell him Hubbard's Marina sent you, and he can get you hooked up for some inshore fishing, fly fishing, gator hunting, bow fishing, whatever you want to do that's not nearshore, offshore fishing related. If it's not something we do ourselves, Captain Mike and his team can take care of you. Now we made it easy right from our website. You can navigate there. So next time you come into town, you can do everything in one spot, make it real, real easy for you. That's the goal, at least, right? So let's get into the nearshore fishing and talk a little bit about nearshore fishing. So nearshore fishing has been pretty darn good lately. We've had a little bit of weather this past weekend, which kind of shook things up for us, made it a little tough there at the end of last week, and made it tough over the weekend because of the weather. And then on the back side of this front, the water got really stirred up and milky, and then the bite was kind of slow, but it's picked up a lot. Today, the bite was a little bit tougher in the morning, but this afternoon was great. So basically what happened is we had a cold front that came through Friday. Wind started shifting out of the north around Friday morning. Now, this was a weaker front. So low pressures or cold fronts, what happens as they come into the area and start sweeping across the Gulf, those fish get really excited and they feed really well right up until that cold front comes. So that day before, that 2 days before a cold front is a great time to go fishing because the fish are really excited and they chew really well for us. Then once that front comes through, that wind clocks out of the north, that barometer starts dropping, the wind picks up, the waves pick up, and the bite just completely shuts off. Then the bites really pour through the period of bad weather. Then the weather calms down. Once it calms down, it takes a little bit of time for that water to clear up, and then the bite turns back on. So, as I was saying, this past Friday, that's 2 days ago, that front came through, the wind picked up. I think it was Thursday, actually. No, it was Friday. So it was Friday that the front came through, and that wind shifted out of the north Friday morning, and the seas came up, the winds came up. It was really bumpy Friday into Saturday morning, started calming down Saturday, and it was a lot nicer Saturday. You know what? I was right. I apologize. So it was Thursday that front came through. So basically what happened is the winds picked up, the seas picked up, then they started to calm down Friday, and then by Saturday it was calm. Saturday we were able to go fishing in the afternoon, but it was still like 3 foot and the water was really stirred up and the bite was kind of crappy. Now today it was nice and calm. It was 2 foot or less. The seas had completely calmed down behind the front, but the water was still a little stirred up this morning. So the bite was slow to start, but as the sun came up, the water warmed up, that water cleared up, the bite really picked up this afternoon. So that is a good example of what happens. This was a weak front and it still took 2 days, almost 36 hours for that bite to pick back up behind the front. A stronger cold front, it can take 48, 52, 72 hours before that water to calm down and then the water also to clear up. Once that water clears up, that's when that bite picks up. So definitely important to time your trips around these cold fronts. The best time to go fishing this time of year is right before a front or that magical period of time after a front when the bite picks up. But it's really hard to tell when that will be exactly. Now, fishing before a front's an easier thing to measure, a little easier to guess at and to time your trip around. So fishing before a front for that reason's typically preferred because you know when that bite's going to be a little bit better. But let's get into these near shore photos and show you what we've been catching lately. We've been catching a few of these red grouper. The keeper red grouper is definitely a little bit difficult. The red grouper bite has not been all that great near shore. We've been catching them offshore in deeper water, but right now we have that deep water closure. We are catching some decent red grouper on our 39-hour trips, on our 12-hour extreme trips. When they get started back up, they'll probably do pretty well on these red grouper, fishing out there closer to 120 foot of water. But where our 10-hour all days fishing in 60 to 100 foot of water, the red grouper bite just isn't really great right now. We're catching a few of them here and there. It's just not stellar for red grouper. But what it is stellar for lately is we've been seeing a ton of hogfish. The hogfish bite's been going really well, and when we're fishing for hogfish and we catch a few of these keeper red grouper mixed in, it's a great day. So the hogfish bite has been really good. It was a little tough yesterday again with that dirtier water. Today the water cleared up and the bite got good today in the afternoon. We started catching some nice hogfish on our 5-hour half day and our 10-hour all day. We've been seeing these guys biting well. And these hogfish are very unique looking, but boy, are they great eating fish. The hogfish are awesome. They love to eat the live shrimp. They'll take fiddler crabs. Great way to target them is either using a knocker rig, a naked ball jig, or just simply a jig head. About 1 ounce of weight is a great option for those hogfish. And then typically about a 3 to 4/0 hook, around 30-pound fluorocarbon. This is the rig right here. Now, obviously, this is not a hogfish, but this is the rig that's been working well. About a 1 ounce lead, 3 to 5 of these 8mm red beads, and then about a 3 to 4/0 hook. This guy looks like he's got a double snell hook going. For hogfish, I'd probably just run a single hook rig, but great option. He's probably trying to put two pieces of shrimp down here. But I would do one single hook, 3 to 5 of these 8 millimeter red beads, and a 1 ounce egg sinker. That would be my preferred method. With about 30 pound fluorocarbon, about a probably 10 to 20 foot piece of 30 pound fluorocarbon, and then that goes to a line to line knot, and then that line to line knot then leads into about 25 to 30 pound braid that goes all the way through your spool of a nice 4,000 5,000 series spinning reel, and that's what's going to work really well to get you plenty of these great eating hogfish. Finicky to catch, but very, very good eating. And the spinning reel works really well with that knocker rig. Also, naked ball jigs are great options. A lot of people prefer those naked ball jigs, and they've been working really well as well. Typically, with the naked ball jig, you are going to tip it a little bit with some live shrimp. The knocker rig, obviously, you're going to use live shrimp. The jig head is just a bare jig head with some live shrimp on it. So live shrimp's always the preferred bait of choice for these hogfish. It gets you a lot of other bycatch as well. We're seeing mangrove snapper. Look at the size of this mangrove snapper. That's a big mangrove snapper for the area we're fishing. Again, only about 60 to 100 foot of water on those 10-hour all days. And to see a mangrove snapper of this size in that area is really cool. So we've been seeing some big mangrove snapper mixed in with those hogfish, and then also those lane snapper as well. The lane snapper bite's been going pretty good as well. So targeting hogfish, also catching lane snapper, mangrove snapper, and then the occasional red grouper. Now, over his shoulder is a great example of what I was talking about. There's the there's the knocker rig that I was talking about with the egg sinker, the beads, and the hook. And then here's the jig head method, just a jig head with a hook on, or a live shrimp on that jig head. So there's 2 of the 3 methods. The other method would be the naked ball jig, which we have in our shop available to you. Now, I want to show you these photos really quick. Hold on to your seats because these are very, very cute. Will McClure, our first mate on our 39-hour fishing trip, took his wife and his daughter out fishing today. His daughter Madison is a fishing fool just like her father, and Madison is pretty darn good at fishing. So she put some people to shame on our 5-hour half day. She started out by driving the boat offshore. This is a great example of why taking kids fishing is just so much fun. And it's great at Hubbard's Marina. We really do the best we can to make sure kids have a great experience. Now, this obviously is one of our crew's daughter, but even your child going out fishing on a 5-hour half day, we really, really try to do our best to make sure they have a memorable experience and get hooked on fishing. So this is Madison driving the boat on the way out. This is Madison showing off one of her many gray snapper. Very proud of it. And this is one of her hogfish. Very proud of that one too. And that's Captain Joe, who is running the boat today. And then we got her dad, Will, showing off another hogfish with Madison. And Madison holding her own rod and reel, reeling in her own gray snapper, having a great time out on that 5-hour half day. Nothing better than taking a kid fishing, let me tell you. And as a crew member, as a captain, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing a young angler get hooked on fishing, and we are happy to try our best to accommodate it. So do yourself a favor and take a kid fishing, as my friend Captain Billy Nobles always says. But lots of kids out fishing lately, and lots of kids are catching hogfish. So maybe bring your kid out, and they can help you get on top of those hogfish. This morning's half day fishing trip was offloading today at 1 o'clock, and these 2 probably 30-year-old dudes had taken their kids out fishing with them. They were both talking about hogfish. They got their rods, they got the tackle, they got their live shrimp. They're all pumped for hogfish. They got their kids with them, unloading off the boat. Sure enough, they got a big old hogfish on their stringer. I was like, great job, man. I'm glad you got your hogfish. And he had this happy but also kind of disappointed look. And he was like, actually, my son caught it. So it's pretty funny to see the kids out fishing the parents a lot of times. But that's what it's all about. Take a kid fishing and show them that good experience. And what's really cool, especially, is not only taking a kid out fishing, but then coming back, filleting up those fish, and walking next door to the restaurant and getting them cooked. Because I remember as a kid, that was like some of the best memories. Granted, I'm a bigger kid and I really like food, but it was cool seeing the fish come out of the water, come back to the dock, filleted, and then next door get cooked up fresh. There's nothing quite like it for sure. But it is time to give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. That is a 5-hour half day for 2 guests coming at you now. Remember, if you're picked as that lucky winner, you do have to text our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page at you have to text our Hubbard's Marina office number. That office number is 727-393-1947. So you text our main office number, your home address, and your full name, and we'll send you out that free trip certificate. So let's see who won a 5-hour half-day trip for 2 people. 5-hour half-day trip for 2 guests goes to Jason Sandikin. I apologize, Jason. I am terrible at pronouncing names. So, Jason from Buffalo, New York, you are the lucky winner of a 5-hour half-day for 2 people. Remember, you have to text our main office number, 727-393-1947, in order to claim that free trip. You just got a mosquito flying around here. All you do is text our main office number, your home address, and I will send you out that free certificate. All right, let's get in here to our overnight, our offshore fishing photos. We are getting excited about our Flying Hub 2 getting back into service. I was actually driving the Flying Hub 2 around yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I spent the afternoon flying around on the Flying Hub 2. My sister has... long story short, my sister sunk a sailboat, unfortunately. She moved onto a sailboat and had some motor issues. The motor issues then caused some sail issues. It was just a bunch of small problems cascaded into a large problem. Ended up with a hole in the hull. And I spent the afternoon yesterday on the Flying Hub 2 with some friends, with some pumps, and we actually were able to save her sailboat, which was really cool. But I was able to take the Flying Hub 2 and really put it through its paces, and boy, are those new motors awesome. And we should have Coast Guard approval hopefully in the next couple days once they reopen Tuesday, because they're closed for President's Day. Once they reopen for Tuesday, we should hopefully have the approval, the signatures sometime Tuesday, and hopefully we'll be able to get that Wednesday Extreme out this week. But until then, we have some 39-hour photos to look at, and the 39-hour fishing trip did really, really well out there, catching plenty of snapper species. Of course, these big vermilions were around. We got a lot of nice mangrove snapper, and we got some big blackfin tuna, some really nice blackfin tuna. We got plenty of mangrove snapper, some really good sized mangrove snapper too. And then these big porgies really cooperated well. We were catching a lot of these big porgies, and of course some big gag grouper, and the Flying Hub 2, waiting for the Coast Guard. Anthony and Richie went out fishing on the 39-hour fishing trip for fun. So that was cool. They got to go fishing for fun. Some more of those big porgies, big mangrove snappers. This is one of my favorite eating fish that we catch out there, strawberry groupers. I love these little grouper. They are legal size. There's no legal size limit on them. You can keep them any size, and boy, are they great eating. These porgies are great eating too, and they fight really good. We caught quite a few of them. Another catch and release gag grouper session. Queen triggerfish, the old queen triggerfish. No federal regulations on these guys, but the state of Florida extended their state regs into federal waters, so we're unable to keep these queen triggerfish because they're actually considered an aquarium fish, so you cannot keep them for dinner. But really good eating fish if you are able to keep them. I know on the East Coast, I think you can keep them. Big mangrove snapper there. Another shot of those, that big porgy. Then a few of these yellowtail came up as well. The yellowtail snapper fishing has been pretty good lately on our 39-hour fishing trip. And those yellowtail are incredible eating fish. So great time to get out there and catch some snapper, mangroves, vermilions, porgies, yellowtails, a few of those strawberry grouper, some red grouper, and also blackfin tuna. So it's a good time to get out there and go 39-hour fishing. And also, you're enjoying the light loads. This time of year, we are carrying 25, 28, 22 people, just super light loads on these 39-hour fishing trips this time of year as well. So great opportunity to go out there, catch fish, and have plenty of room while you do it. Let's see who won a 10-hour all day for two guests. 10-hour all day for two guests coming at you now. Let's see. Ronald Skipper from Salisbury, North Carolina. I hope that was autocorrect there, Ronald. So Ronald Skipper is the lucky winner of the 10-hour all day trip tonight. And don't forget, we still have that 39-hour fishing trip to give away here soon, so stay tuned. Now let's see here. Let's get into some of these questions. I know we had a lot of questions last week that I wasn't able to get all of them into, so we're going to answer some of those as well. So let's see here. One of the questions that I saw was, what size leader and length of leader do you use with the naked ball jig? We talked about that a little bit earlier. That 30-pound fluorocarbon is the size leader that I would use, and about 10 to 20 foot is a good length of line to use when you're using a naked ball jig or a jig head or a knocker rig when we're targeting those hogfish. And then I like to always tip the naked ball jig with shrimp, but some people catch plenty of hogfish using just the naked ball jig by itself. But I have better luck and more action typically when I tip it with a little bit of shrimp. So that's kind of the way I roll with those naked ball jigs, but everybody has their own preference. Let's see here. What is the best way to rig a live shrimp? Now, I like rigging a live shrimp when I'm using a single hook rig. I go like, let's say the tip of my finger is the tail of the shrimp. Up here is the head of the shrimp. I like going up underneath the base of the tail and out the top of the shrimp. So you take the tip of the hook, put it in the base of the tail up underneath, and then pull it out the top of the shrimp. That seems to work really, really well for rigging those shrimp. And as that jig head pulls it to bottom, or that knocker rig pulls it to bottom, that shrimp is able to keep his head up, and it kind of struggles a little bit. So that slows the descent down a little bit, I believe. And typically, those hogfish are up in the water column, so it'll give you an even better chance to catch them. That's why I like those knocker rigs, because as that weight gets further from that shrimp, if you hook them up underneath the base of the tail and out the top of the shrimp, that shrimp's struggling to try to get back to the surface and stay off the bottom. And then a lot of times you'll be able to pick up that fish as you're going to bottom, especially if you're using lighter weight. What do you catch trolling on the 39-hour trip, mid to late summer? I mean, most of the time through the spring and summer, we see kingfish. We see the occasional mahi-mahi or dolphin. We see tuna in the cooler months a majority of the time, but we do catch tuna through the summer. Wahoo are kind of sporadic throughout the whole entire year. We see them occasionally in the winter. We see them occasionally in the summer. You just never really know. But I would say probably mid to late summer would be kingfish and tuna, and perhaps maybe a mahi, and perhaps maybe a wahoo. The Rapala X-Rap is probably the best go-to trolling lure, or that Nomad DTX Minnow. Great options. Basically, hard trolling baits work really, really well. Is braided line good to use for main line when trolling? Yeah, braided line works really well for main line when trolling because it gives you a lot of line capacity. However, when you're trolling on a party boat with other lines around and sometimes people don't know exactly what they're doing, mono's a good idea for trolling. So I'll put a lot of braid on my reel, and then I'll put maybe 100 yards of mono on top of it, or 75 yards of mono, or even 50 yards of mono. So that way, if someone does happen to put out a line incorrectly and gets tangled with mine, I'm able to undo it. And then also it makes it real easy to handle. When you hook that big fish, it's easy to hand line in that line. Just makes it all around a little bit more easy to deal with. So adding a little bit of mono on top of your braided line spool when trolling on a party boat is a good idea, especially because our trips are bottom fishing trips. We're going out there bottom fishing, so we don't slow down unless you got a really big fish on, like a big wahoo or a big billfish. Then we'll slow down. So most of the time you're retrieving that fish while the boat's moving, so it takes a little bit of elbow grease. And then also when that fish gets closer, you got a hand line in that fish, especially if you're using like a trolling weight or a planer. So some monofilament at the end of that makes it a lot easier for sure. But as far as a majority of the spool, yeah, I would use braided line in your spool just because you have more line capacity that way. Let's see here. What's the average travel time on the ride out for a 39-hour fishing trip? Typically, it's about 7 to 9 hour ride out on a 39-hour trip. It kind of depends on the time of year and where we're fishing. Sometimes it can be as short as 6.5, 7 hours. Sometimes it can be as long as 9 to 10 hours. Now, on our 44-hour trip, sometimes it's about that same length of time. Sometimes it's a little longer. Most of the time, we take a couple extra hours run time on a 44 to get a little further than we normally would on a 39-hour trip. But you still are fishing earlier. It's on a full moon. You get more nighttime fishing on that 44 hours. So that's the main difference between a 39 and a 44-hour. It's just the 44-hour offers more night fishing time, and it's always on a full moon, or as close to a full moon as we can get it. So those are the differences there. Let's see here. Another question was, we want to book a 5-hour trip early August. What would be better, morning or afternoon? A lot of times people ask, what's the best half-day trip? Is the morning the best? Is the afternoon the best? A lot of people believe the morning trip is the best. Just like a lot of people believe the back of the boat is the best spot to fish, and that is not true. Lately, the best trip has been the afternoon half-day fishing trip, and that's due to the time of year. Now, for me, in the summertime, I would shoot for a morning trip. In the wintertime, when the water's chillier, I would shoot for an afternoon trip. So in the springtime, when the water's still cold, afternoon is probably the better trip. Now, in the dead of summer, in August, it probably doesn't matter whether you go morning or afternoon because the water's so hot, it's not really going to make much of a difference. So to answer this question, as far as in the middle of August, what trip is better, morning or afternoon, it doesn't really matter because by that time the fish are used to that warm weather. Now in June and May, probably morning is going to be a little bit better, and you'll see a difference there. By July, August, September, those fish, they don't care. If they're hungry, they're going to eat. Let's see here. Another question was, can you catch hogfish all year? What's the best months, in your opinion, to catch hogfish? Hogfish bite best in the cooler months. The cooler months are the best time to get after those hogfish. So we see a really good bite of hogfish starting in like October all the way through like April into May, depending on depending on the weather. Sometimes it's a little earlier, sometimes it's a little later. You really just need to kind of watch what the water temperatures are doing. We do get hogfish all year. We do catch hogfish in the dead of summer, so you never ever know for sure. That's why they call it fishing, and that's what's so exciting about saltwater fishing is things are constantly bucking the system and the trend. But for the most part, predominantly cooler weather is definitely the best time for those hogfish near shore. Anywhere from about 40 to about 90 foot of water lately is where we've been seeing those hogfish. Now, let's see here. Another question was, I want to do a private charter. How far in advance do I need to make a reservation? Private charters, the earlier you book them, the better. For example, red snapper season, private charter bookings started to roll in at the end of last year. And we only have a couple days left on red snapper private charters. Even party boat trips for red snapper are starting to fill up. I always tell people I highly recommend a reservation. As soon as you know what day and how many people you have going and what trip you want, book it. Can't hurt to book it. If you book online, you have to pay at time of reservation. If you call us over the phone, we just hold it with a credit card, and as long as you don't void the cancellation policy, you get to come in the day of your trip and pay the day of your trip however you want. But if you don't show up, you don't call, that's when we would charge your credit card, even if you booked over the phone. But booking over the phone allows you to then make reservations in advance for trips, and it allows you that flexibility. So highly recommend making sure that you reserve your trip as early as you know what day and what trip you're going to go on, because especially with private charters, availability does fill up pretty quickly. So always a good idea to book in advance. Another question was, is there a closed season on hogfish? Right now, we have not been seeing any closures on hogfish. I think like 2 years ago, they closed in December randomly because of a quota closure. But for the most part, we do not see any closures on the hogfish. They're open all year, and hopefully it will continue that way. They did change the quota on hogfish recently, but it's not, we haven't been close to that quota to cause a closure. So hopefully it'll stay that way and we won't see any type of closures for hogfish or any type of seasons, because we're enjoying catching those hogfish for sure. Let's see YouTube. Let's see if we have any questions from YouTube. One question was, we're coming from out of town. Can we buy the jigs and the rigs that you've recommended during the show at your shop? Yes, we have all the tackle that we talk about on the show and during the show at our shop. Basically, our shop is super small and we don't have a lot of selection in our tackle shop, but we have what I recommend. We have what you need for our trips. We have anything you need for nearshore and offshore fishing, what I like fishing with, what we recommend fishing with, what our crew likes fishing with, what our crew recommends. We have all that in our shop. So it's a small but mighty tackle shop with a little bit of everything you need to head out there and go fishing and be successful nearshore and offshore fishing. Good question. Let's see here. What other questions did we have from YouTube? A lot of people talking about all the hogfish they caught lately, which is cool. All right, here. I don't see many questions from YouTube. When do you catch amberjack the most? We typically see amberjack the best closer to the fall, but unfortunately amberjack season is very limited. It's only open May, August, September, and October. So May and October would probably be the best time to get amberjack. So I would probably book early May as your best option for amberjack. We're probably going to do really well on amberjack in that first part of May, the first half of May, when that amberjack season opens up for the first time in spring. We're going to do really, really well. So I would definitely suggest that option. Another question was, do you ever get swordfish on your private charters? That's not really anything we do here at Hubbard's Marina. We know people that do it, and I can link you up with someone who could put you on a chance for swordfish. But in our area, you got to run really far. We've hooked swordfish on our trips. On our 63-hour pelagic trip, we've hooked some sailfish, but it's swordfish, excuse me. We hook sailfish actually much more commonly. But swordfish is one of those things that is definitely unique in our area. You got to run really far, be on a really long trip or on a really fast boat to get out there. So we don't do that regularly, and it's not something we have trips set up for. But I know people who can get you set up, so give us a call. Another question from YouTube was, has the dates for red snapper season been open? That is definitely a very common question, and I answer it the same way all year up until late spring when they finally announce it. Basically, red snapper season always opens for the last 10 years. It always opens June 1st. So you can book your trip today and hurry up and book it because they're filling up fast. You can always count on June being open, and lately you can always count on July being open. And I would guarantee that we're going to have at least a couple days in the first part of August. I'm betting that we'll have June 1st through around August 6th. That is a complete educated guess. So it's a guess, but I think it's pretty educated. I'm pretty confident in that, but we'll see because that's been documented now. It's on YouTube, so hopefully I'm not way off. But I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, we'll at least have a 62-day season like we did last year. There's no reason our season for federally permitted for-hire charter boats and party boats would be any shorter than it was last year because we didn't go over our quota. So I would assume probably June 1st to August 6th, but you can bet on the fact, take it to the bank, it'll be June 1st all the way through the end of July and probably a few days in August. How many days in August is the question. But they won't announce that and they won't make that final until probably I might be able to find out at this next National Marine Fisheries meeting coming up at the end of March, early April. I might be able to find out more information there, but most likely the official announcement won't come out until late April, sometimes as late as early May before they finally announce finalized red snapper dates. And if you wait for finalized red snapper dates to come out, trips are going to be full. You're not going to have an opportunity to go on a party boat trip. All private charters will be sold out for months. And definitely don't wait for the dates. Make sure you book early and book often for red snapper. And in my opinion, red snapper's overrated. Right now, the month of January, we destroyed the fish. We caught tons of fish and no one was here. We had 25, 30 people on the boat, and there was mountains of fish to be caught. I think I went January 14th on a 39-hour trip. It was one of the best trips I've ever had. And I limited out on snapper, on mangrove snapper in less than 6 hours. The fishing was incredible, and there was nobody on the boat. Whereas come red snapper season, trips are sold out for weeks in advance, months in advance, and it's totally super busy to catch these red snapper. And in my opinion, I don't really like eating them as much as I like eating other fish. I think they're a little overrated, and so many people will only come fishing when red snapper are open, and it's just, I don't get it. It's hot that time of year. I really enjoy spring, fall, in the summer, or a spring, fall, and wintertime fishing. It's cooler. We have a lot of different species biting and lighter loads. So that's just my off-topic rant for a second. Another question was, what restaurants cook up your catch Right next door to our docks at Hubbard's Marina is the Friendly Fisherman, and they offer to cook up your fresh fish for around $10. Now, locally, besides the Friendly Fisherman, which is our family restaurant, highly recommend that one. But if you don't want to go there, you want to try something a little different, I know Shrimpy's Blues Bistro over in Blinds Pass does cook your catch. I hear rumors that Gators across the pass from us does it, but I'm not sure about that. I know Conch Republic up the road in Indian Shores offers to cook your catch. There's a few places that'll smoke your catch. If you catch an amberjack or kingfish, you want it smoked. Knockman's Native Seafood is my favorite place to go to get my fish smoked. But Ted Peters' famous fish house will also smoke your fish. So there's a bunch of different options, and we'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction of a restaurant that can cook up your catch for you. Another question I saw was, can you rent kayaks for fishing at Hubbard's Marina? We do have kayaks at Hubbard's Marina for rental. We do rent paddle boards. We rent kayaks, and you can fish from our kayaks. We do have the fishing tackle you can rent, the live bait, the beer, the ice, the coolers, everything. So you can stop by our office and rent a kayak and go fishing. So next time you're in town, you have a lot of options. You can come out, do a party boat trip, do a private charter for grouper, snapper, amberjack, kingfish. You can go do an inshore charter with Cap Mike and his team. Come out and go kayak fishing. Go fishing off the seawall for sheep's head. The options are literally endless, and we'd be more than happy to set you up during your vacation, or if you're a local, during your staycation. That's what I did last week. Just stayed at home, hung out with my family, and did a lot of cool, fun stuff around the area. There's just a lot of stuff to do in our beautiful hometown. Very blessed for sure. Another question was, why is there only one 39-hour trip in September this year? We have dry dock. Every year we have dry dock. It starts around Labor Day, just after Labor Day, and it runs all the way through until the boat's done. This year, dry dock is about 7 weeks long, and it's going to start, let's see here, pull up my handy dandy calendar. It's going to start, dry dock starts September 9th, and it ends October, I think, like 28th or 29th. So we have only one 39-hour trip in September. I think we got a 44-hour full moon trip in there too, and then we've got a 44-hour full moon trip at the end of October. All because of dry dock is why there's that little break in there without a long range trip. Last year, the Friendly was in dry dock, so we were able to run a 39-hour trip in the middle there of dry dock. This year, the Florida's in dry dock, so there's no option to run one of those long range trips during that dry dock period. But we'll have the Flying Hub 2 running long range trips. We'll have the 12-hour night snapper options, so there'll still be trips in there for you to take as experienced anglers. Another question was, when do dolphin or dorado or mahi-mahi start biting? We typically see those fish most commonly in the warmer months. So around April, late April, early May, depending on weather, all the way through around September and October is when we see those mahi-mahi. Occasionally, you just never know when we'll see them. Sometimes we even see them in the wintertime. Like I said, you just never know in saltwater fishing. And it kind of depends on those currents. If those warmer weather currents get pushed to the north, if those warmer water currents get pushed in from the loop current, we'll sometimes see mahi in odd times of the year. But primarily summertime, late spring, through early fall and through the summer is when we see those mahi-mahi in our area. What's the best weight for leader line on mangrove snapper? Typically, nearshore mangrove snapper fishing on our 5-hour and 10-hour all days, I'd be using like 30-pound fluorocarbon, maybe 40-pound fluorocarbon on a deeper water, closer to 100 foot. Once I get past 110, 120 foot of water, typically 40 to 50-pound fluorocarbon. If gags are open, I'll probably jump it up to 60-pound fluorocarbon. But primarily, I'm using lighter tackle for those mangrove snapper. That works really, really well for those mangrove snapper. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? As far as trolling, someone asked how many people at a time can we troll on these 39-hour trips? So we can troll anywhere from around 7 to 9 people comfortably on the back of the Florida fishermen. And when we have the outriggers out, even more. But primarily, about 7 to 9 is comfortable. But it starts to get cramped with around 9, and any more than that makes it difficult. Typically, trolling is done by those who have stern spots booked. If you don't have a stern spot booked, you still have an opportunity to troll. If someone in the stern isn't trolling, the crew can help you kind of find a spot to do it. And we do our best to kind of do a little bit of a rotation on the trolling, but ultimately it's a bottom fishing trip. It's not a trolling trip. So it's not something where we're actively trolling. We don't have a charter master back there controlling the trolling. It's kind of a free for all a little bit with the help of our fishing coach, John Martin, and the crew's there to kind of get it all started. But then the crew's got to sleep because they got to be up for 20 hours straight helping you when we're bottom fishing. So it's the trolling's kind of a bonus, an addition to a 39-hour trip, and it's not something that we focus on primarily. Let's see here. I hear you. I'll try to be quiet, babe. The baby woke up. We got to be more quiet, guys. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Do we ever have any 10-hour night trips? We do the 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips. Those 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips are starting up here shortly. They start up late March. They go all the way through October this year. So those 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips are a great option to catch plenty of mangrove snapper, vermilion snapper, maybe even yellowtail snapper, porgies. We sometimes see some other species as well. If you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, and go over to fishing trips, if you scroll down to the specialty trip schedule, right on our specialty trip schedule page, you'll see the 2020 trip schedule. You'll just click that photo and it will bring you to this PDF page, and it will show you all the dates for our 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips. It actually starts early March. So March 6th is the first one, goes all the way through October 9th. And then our 12-hour extreme trips are listed in here. We've got our 39-hour fishing trips listed in here. We've got our 44-hour fishing trips listed. The ones highlighted in yellow are close to a full moon or on a full moon. So there's some 39 hours this year that are right next to or on a full moon. And then we've got the 44-hour trips, which of course are all on a full moon. So they're all highlighted in yellow. I didn't bother with the 12-hour extremes because there's just too many of them. But lots of great specialty fishing trips for you to choose from this year, and to get out there and go fishing for sure. Let's see here. What other stuff do we have to talk about? We've got that Bass Pro Shop seminar coming up February 22nd. That's this coming Saturday, February 22nd. So less than a week away, 6 days away, we'll be at Tampa Bass Pro Shops, 2 p.m. We're going to be giving away free trips at that event, and we're going to be doing the same thing we're doing now, but in person. So come out and join us at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops this Saturday, February 22nd, 2 p.m. You could win free fishing trips. We're going to talk all about fishing in person, and we can chat more before and after that seminar too. Let's see here. We also have some light loads on our 39-hour fishing trip coming up February 21st. We've got a light load February 28th on that 39-hour. Those are the last two in February. March 1st, Triggerfish Open. We've got plenty of 39-hour trips and 12-hour extreme trips for those triggerfish. They bite best in deeper water. And again, they open March 1st. As far as weather is concerned, I want to mention the weather here real quick. You can go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com. under fishing trips. You can scroll down to weather links when you're on our weather links page. Right on our weather links page, you can go down to Wind Finder and or NOAA. I prefer Wind Finder, and it will show you exactly what's going on with the weather. You can see here real clearly that around Friday, Thursday night, Friday, the wind's going to pick up significantly. But real quickly, Monday looks gorgeous, less than half a foot. It's going to be literally flat calm tomorrow. Tuesday is less than 1 foot. Wednesday is less than 1 foot. Thursday is only about 1.5 foot. Still gorgeous Thursday. And then Friday it picks up quite a bit and gets a little bumpy, almost rough Friday. Again, this is the Egmont Key forecast. This is only about 10-12 miles from shore. So it's beautiful inshore and nearshore. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Offshore, it's going to start picking up here Wednesday and through probably all the way through the weekend. So if you're booked on this 39-hour trip coming up February 21st, don't freak out quite yet. It's still a little early. We are waiting to see what that weather does. Probably sometime Wednesday morning. The Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, we'll make that final decision on the weather for this weekend's 39-hour fishing trip. But it's definitely looking a little bumpy starting there Thursday into Friday nearshore, Thursday night into Friday nearshore, offshore probably starting a little earlier, like Wednesday night into the weekend. But for our 10-hour trip, Tuesday's best weather, Thursday's weather looks good too. It's just a little bumpy, like close to 2 foot, which is not bad at all. So Tuesday's the best. Thursday's still plenty doable. As long as that front doesn't speed up and move forward, then Thursday might be in trouble. But right now, Tuesday looks great. Thursday looks good. For our 5-hour half-day trip, pretty much any day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Great opportunities to get out there and go fishing. Private charters, obviously, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday again. And then hopefully that weather will hold off for a while, so we'll get that Friday, February 28th, 39-hour out for sure. But time will tell. This time of year, these cold fronts are just... Every now and again you get them, and they come and they mess up the weather for a few days. So hurry up and wait, and we'll see what happens, right? So we talked about the Bass Pro Seminar coming up this weekend at Bass Pro Shops. We'll be back doing the live show again Sunday night the 23rd. So hopefully you can join us again this coming Sunday. And let's see who won a 39-hour fishing trip. And then we're going to wrap this thing up. So 39-hour fishing trip. Unfortunately, we did not hit 400 live viewers. This is the first time in quite a while. We got really close. We flirted with it. We're at 91 live viewers on YouTube and 287 on Facebook. So we're pretty close to 400 live viewers, but we didn't get quite there, unfortunately. But we're still going to give away a free 39-hour trip because I like you guys. So let's see who won a free 39-hour fishing trip for one person. 39-hour trip for one guest. Let's see who got it. Drum roll, please. Jay, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Jay, you have won. Thanks for watching, Jay. And everybody else, I appreciate you tuning in to our live stream fishing show. Oh, don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Hopefully, we'll see you this coming Saturday at Bass Pro Shops, 2 p.m. Hopefully, we'll see you the Sunday following February 23rd for another 8:30 p.m. live stream show. Don't forget to tell your friends. Come out and see us at Hubbard's Marina. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you sometime soon inside Johns Pass at Hubbard's Marina. Have a great night, guys.